Hello there. Welcome to Indian Hollywood Fan, and this is going to be the first of a new series which we're going to start. And this is going to be about the Marvel Cinematic Universe Rewatch, the MCU Rewatch. We're going to rewatch all the 23 movies, and I'm going to give my own movie reviews about it. And we're going to start this series with the first MCU film, Iron Man. Iron Man was released back in 2008. This movie was directed by Jon Favreau and it starred Robert Downey Jr. So back in the early 2000s, Iron Man wasn't really always a well-known character to the casual audiences because those were the years where the X-Men, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four were popular and characters like Iron Man, Thor and Captain America weren't really that popular or weren't really that into the genre at that point. But the 2008 Iron Man movie changed it for a good number of reasons. Now, Robert Downey Jr. is just simply great. He is funny, he is witty, he's doing everything possible to make Tony Stark appealing to the audiences. And basically, the character of Tony Stark strikes very much as a selfish and a carefree industrialist who doesn't really care about anything else but himself. But then basically, the movie is more about the story of redemption, how Tony Stark becomes a hero, how he becomes from a billionaire to a self sacrificing figure. Also, the fact that most of the movie we spend more time with Tony Stark, we kind of see his character development, we see where his character is going, and basically, this movie is about Tony Stark's transitioning to be a hero. And I think that's what I like about this movie, that this movie doesn't really try to go out of its way and give away some Marvel references to other characters. It's just trying to do its own thing. It's just trying to be a standalone movie until the third act. So most of the points are the fact that it's not really a complete 100% great film. There are some flaws. I think one of the things which I don't like about this film is I think I don't like Terrence Howard as James Rhodes. I respect him as an actor, but I think, I think I prefer Don Cheadle any day. He's just great in the future MCU films where where he appeared in Iron Man 2, and then he kept appearing in the other MCU films. Another thing is basically the movie also introduces Shield, which acts really great as a world building device because they kind of also set up Shield's involvement in the Avengers. So Agent Coulson appears in the movie and he's like, I work for Shield, and yeah, that's a cool thing. And obviously Nick Fury appears after in the post-credit scene. But anyway, I think the villain is also a problem here because most of the time the hero doesn't know who is the villain, and basically he's the closest person to himself. Obadiah Stane and the way he becomes Ironmonger, and it kind of feels very rushed in the third act. Even though Jeff Bridges does a great job as an actor, it somehow feels like no, it's flawed. It doesn't really act that great compared to some of the other villains inside of the MCU. All in all, this is my one of my most favorite standalone films inside of the MCU. It might be my most favorite standalone film, in fact. The fact that I think the film works is because you don't really have any expectations. It's not a Batman movie where it already had an adaptation and now you're watching a very different version of it. It's a very fresh thing to start a cinematic universe, and I think it does its job pretty great at that fact. So basically, a billionaire who doesn't care about anybody but himself and how he becomes a self-sacrificing hero and then goes on to save innocent people who are threatened by terrorists, the Ten Rings. It's just a great superhero kind of a thing you can expect from a superhero film. Also, the post-credit scene which teased Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury is the best MCU post-credit scene. It just gives like, okay, that's where we're going. Avengers Initiative. And I think that's a cool way to go ahead. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. May the force be with you always.